I want to say that what an incredible pleasure it's been having the President here, and along with her ministers and the contingency that she brought to Saint Lucia. I know that as a general public, one always looks at sometimes at these meetings as being from a cynical perspective, that really what are they about? But I have to say to you, Madam President, that I have found the last couple of hours that we've been able to spend together incredibly fruitful, almost begging the question why we've not had this meeting before. And certainly the common experiences that we've had, and clearly Chile is way ahead of Saint Lucia in many ways, particularly as it comes to climate change and the experiences that you were talking about with regards to earthquakes, fires, storms and floodings. Sometimes we here think that we're the only ones experiencing those things. And I think that both yourself and Japan are probably exemplary examples of that countries that have been affected and then have had the goodwill and the benevolence to reach out to be able to support people. So I know that my Minister of Sustainable Development was very excited about the discussions we had today, about the things that we can follow up on. With regards to more trade, that we've begun to have dialogue in terms of how we can encourage more trade. And I know for St. Lucians, sometimes we think it's going to be one way in terms of just getting products from Chile. But again, because of our geographic location and some of the trade agreements that we currently have, we believe that there's opportunities for your manufacturers in the country. So as an immediate follow-up, we have two senior ministers who are actually going to be coming down to Chile. Our Minister of Infrastructure that was already coming down for a meeting with regards to energy. And I'm also encouraging my Minister of Agriculture to be able to go down to follow up with your Minister of Agriculture. We can talk about ICA, but also in terms of some of the best practices and where the opportunities are to see more agricultural produce coming from Chile, but also where some of the expertise may come from Chile in terms of helping us grow our own agricultural sector here in Saint Lucia. We've spoken about women's affairs, and I want to publicly say thank you very much. The government of Chile, through you, Madam President, have agreed to contribute $100,000 towards affected women, particularly in skills of entrepreneurial area. And this is obviously something that's very dear to our hearts at Cabinet. And I just want to say on behalf of all the women in my Cabinet, and particularly the women that are going to benefit from this program, how grateful we are from that. We've also had the opportunity to discuss regional issues, both from the OAS, the UN, climate change at COP, and obviously the current situation in Venezuela. So I just want to thank you very much for sharing all of those things. And I'm looking forward to a very long-lasting and continued relationship. I was very encouraged to hear that one of our former ambassadors, Ambassador Dr. Edmonds, is a long-standing friend of Chile. And now we have his son as our new ambassador. And so your concurrence to allow our ambassadors in Washington and at the UN in New York to basically form a much closer alliance in terms of being able to move forward as we navigate this new world. So again, Madam President, it's been a pleasure having you here, and I'm very much looking forward to being able to announce at a later date even stronger cooperative agreement than we've had in the past. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister. I really want to mention that I'm very pleased to be here in Castries and by my meeting with you and your cabinet, in which, as you have mentioned, we have had a fruitful dialogue that I'm sure will broaden and deepen our bonds of friendship. I would like to highlight that this is a historic event because it's the first time that a Chilean president comes for an official visit to Saint Lucia. And that reflects, on one hand, the importance that we give to Saint Lucia and the excellent relation and mutual respect that between our nations and a friendship built since our country established diplomatic relations in 1990. And I know, and we have discussed about that Chile and Saint Lucia share many points of view of issues of interest for our countries, both bilaterally and in the regional and global levels. And in this sense, I would like to emphasize our commitment of both countries with fundamental values such as respect for democracy, human rights, rule of law, and of course, concern on environment. Even though we are probably the southernmost country in Latin America, and you are here in the Caribbean Sea, but we do share lots of challenges. I mean, we do share our concern about the ocean, on the seas. We do have a lot of consequences on climate change, and we do want to exchange all those experiences with our friends, with our partners. And in that sense, we have been working bilaterally with Saint Lucia, but also in the context of CARICOM and in the context of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS. And we will continue working on focusing on areas such as poverty eradication, agriculture and food sector, disaster prevention and management, adaptation to climate change, and strengthening good practices in the public sector. And as a matter of fact, we are very happy to receive your ministers there, attending some regional meetings linked to some of these issues. One of them will be in terms of the Energy Partnership for the Americas, and the other one is it's an international convention on marine areas, protected marine areas. So it will be, and also there will be a chance to exchange our experiences with your experiences in terms of fishing and other issues. Of course, for me, as you know, Prime Minister, gender is always a very important issue, and we'll continue working on many projects on that. And of course, our donation will come here as soon as possible, so women who wants to start a business, entrepreneurship, could have the possibilities and the capacity to do so. And also, we are thinking on trade areas. We will continue discussing many of these issues. One of the good things is that we have complementary economies. I mean, we don't have, the kind of things that you produce here, it's many of them we don't produce in Chile, so we're not adversaries, so we can work together. And I can imagine that Chileans would love to have the possibility of consuming fantastic shrimps that we see, lobsters, and of course bananas and so many other things. So we do not produce any of those, so we can, I would say, improve and enhance our possibilities in trade too. So thank you so much, and I hope that the sort of route map that we have put up on us, that we will fulfill it, and we will be able to, as soon as possible, to sign an agreement that will broaden our ties.
Thank you very much. And wearing a very different hat, I'm also chairman of the OECS. So on behalf of the OECS governments, I want to, again, welcome you to our region. We're now leaving to go to have a meeting with some of the OECS heads. We already have some programs that you're assisting us, particularly in the alleviation of poverty.
Yes.
And clearly there are some commonalities that extend past Saint Lucia. That I'm looking forward to having a discussion with you. So again, on behalf of all of the prime ministers of our OECS region and also the Director General, again, it's a great pleasure to have you here, and thank you so much for coming here with your entire contingency.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.